Track wrestling here at Camp Pendleton World Team Training Camp with World Team member Kyle Dake. I guess first of all, I hear Team Dake kind of tore up the obstacle course.
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't call it Team Dake. You know, we had a bunch of good members. Everyone played their part and took a big role, and we worked together as a team, and it was good.
What was out there? What did you guys conquer? What were the challenges? How were you able to overcome them?
There was a few challenges. The first one, you know, we read through the script and realized what we were allowed to do, not allowed to do. It was a little slower, but after that one, we got the hang of it, and pretty much I just looked at the course and was, you know, on top of it before our teammates finished reading it, trying to figure it out or get things ready or move or anything like that. So it was a bunch of different things. Like, you're not allowed to, you know, you have to create your own bridge and get across this with, you know, ammo tanks to resupply your squadron or whatever it was. And it was a lot of fun. You know, we were already a team, and it just helped us communicate better and really work together to accomplish a goal.
You gonna be out there on the firing range next week?
I hope so. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. You know, I've shot a few guns in my time. I wouldn't say I'm an avid a hunter or gunslinger, but I do have fun with it, and I really enjoy going out there and just seeing what it's like, feeling, you know, trying to realize how difficult it is for those men and women in service to do what they do. So, you know, it's just gonna be a fun time.
Has being here changed your perspective on anything?
I don't think so. You know, my perspective has pretty much always been the same, and you know, these guys are laying it down, and I've always known that. I've had family in the military and things like that, so you know, the way they live kind of stinks. You know, living in the barracks and stuff like that, but you know, that's the harsh living that you get when you're in a combat zone. So. You know, props to those guys.
The strength training that you go through, really interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing it? What does it entail? How'd you get started on it?
So it's called functional patterns. I've been working this past week at Camp Pendleton with the owner and creator of the system. His name's Naudi Aguilar. He's based out of Hawaii. He was in San Diego when he first started the company, and then moved up to Seattle, and that's where he had his own gym up there. And this was in early 2016 when I found him. I was going through quite a few injuries at the time. You know, I knew my shoulder was probably going to be a little bit messed up and not going to be able to do it. Actually, it was in 2015 that I found him. So it's 2015 that I found him, and I started doing, because I had like a little bit of a back problem, like tightness in my back, and he has hundreds of videos on YouTube, and I just typed in functional patterns and then back pain, and first video came up, clicked on it, watched the video, realized that I needed a couple tools, ran into the gym, got them, came back home, or didn't even come back home, put it on my phone, watched it again, and you know, just started doing some of the myofascial release techniques, and my back pain was gone. I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. And so I was like, man, I wonder if they have something for like my bicep. And sure enough, I go through it and find it for bicep, and same thing, instant relief. I was like, wow, this is incredible. And you know, so I started following him, and he's had, you know, he's seen a lot of different types of people over the course of his career, and he's taken, you know, he takes the best aspects from all of these areas: strength and conditioning, stretching, yoga, CrossFit, all of these things. He takes the best of what it is, and he just throws away what doesn't work. And the reason he came up with it is because he wants, what do humans do? How do humans move? They walk, they run, and they throw. You know, those are their primary functions. And if you don't do those three things well, you're probably going to be in some pain. And you know, his goal is to get people out of pain and fix their dysfunctions. So in doing so, I realized what I was doing. I was kind of using it as a rehab program, and then realized that I was just kind of hindering myself doing other things. You know, some of the things that he had already thrown out, I kept close to my chest, and I was like, man, I should probably keep doing these because I need to. Because I was indoctrinated to believe that. I was indoctrinated to believe that I needed to lift heavy weights every 4 times a week, and do heavy back squats and front squats and deadlifts and bench press and all these things. And I stopped doing them. I just stopped doing them and started employing the FP protocols, and just started getting healthier and faster and stronger. It's hard for me to explain. I thought I was probably maxed out of where I could have been. I could have gained some weight and probably gotten stronger along with my maturity, because in 2015, 2016, was that 3 years ago? I was only 24, so I'm like, I still got, I'm a late bloomer. I still got some time to grow. Just not up, but wider. So I started, just following what he said, and I was getting it, but it's hard to do it on your own. It's really hard to do it on your own. So, and at the time there was nobody in the area that I could go to see. There was one guy down in Philadelphia, north of Philadelphia, that I could get to. So I paid him to come up and train me for a few days at Cornell, and it was good. And then decided I was going to fly out to Seattle to see Nowdy. And the first time, actually, he kind of denied me. He's like, yeah, I'll get you some work with one of my guys, and it turned out to be, Johnny. He's really good. He's really good as well. But I was like, man, I was hoping to get the guy, the guy in all the videos. That's who I wanted to work with, and ended up actually not working out. We had set up a time, and Johnny and I just couldn't get it worked out. So I'm like, all right, I got a tournament coming up. I can't be flying out there and then doing all this stuff. So I waited, and then in October, I flew out and got to train with Nowdy for a week, and he threw me to the wolves. He was running a course, so he runs 4 different types of courses. Human foundations course, but there's like a bunch of prerequisites that you have to go through, and then human biomechanics specialist course, first one, second one, third one, and then there's going to be a fourth one. So it was basically the first semester of it. And I had just looked at the YouTube videos. I didn't even have his book at the time, and I didn't fulfill any of the prerequisites. He just threw me into the wolves, and these guys used me as like a little guinea pig to like teach, because that's what they went to be a HBS. Really, what you're doing is become a functional patterns trainer, and be able to fix dysfunction and do things like that. So all these guys were using me as a guinea pig, and they're like, oh, you have this, and this going on. And I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? Oh yeah, you do this, and this. I'm like, okay, what do I do first? This. And it's just like kind of cool to be there. So I would train 1 hour with Nowdy in the morning, and then I would go through the entire course, which was like 6 hours, with Nowdy and the like 25 other students. And then after that, Nowdy and I would train again for like 30 minutes at the end. And that would just be fried, and I did that for 6 straight days. So I just got like the craziest crash course that I could get. And so I went home and had all this new material, but I couldn't remember it all. I had videotaped it, I had done as much as I could, and even watching the videos, I'm like, still not getting it. So, I wrestled, did whatever, and then flew back out to train with him again. And did pretty much the same thing. There was no HBS course, but there was like 4 new guys there that were training under his wing, and then so I met a few of the guys, and now my current trainer, his name's Pablo Martin. He's helped me a ton. He's been at Ithaca in Cornell with me for the past since December. So having him, I was going along and getting gradual improvement with it. And then when Pablo came, I just went poof, and I got a ton better. And then both of us kind of plateaued, and then poof again. And then we both plateaued, and then poof again. So he's been great. But back to kind of how it happened was, all those people that are involved in that theater are just awesome, down-to-earth people who are just trying to help. You know, they just want to help people, but they have a very strict standard. You know, and if you deviate from their standard, it's something that they kind of don't tolerate. So for me, I was like, this is the best thing that I've ever done. This is one of the greatest things that I could have done for my career and my life. And you know, my parents are doing it now. My wife's doing it. You know, pretty much everyone that's close to me is involved in FP now. So eventually, I got now to come out to Cornell a couple times. I went to Hawaii to train with him where his new spot is, and he came out to Camp Pendleton for these 2 weeks to help me get prepared for the World Championships. And you know, his insight is incredible, and I really think he enjoys it too, because I'm just so willing to learn and get better, and he can see a lot of different things, and when he's always figuring things out, but when he's with not just me in particular, but with one of his clients or with one of his athletes, he's just like, oh, that's how that works. That's how you can change that. That's how you do that. Let me play with that. Let me fix that. And then he'll just like, his wheels are always turning to figure out new stuff. And like, how can I make this guy more efficient, more powerful, faster, better agility? You know, he wants to do all those things. And you know, if really to get more information on what functional patterns is, you should just go to the YouTube channel and figure out and watch a few videos, and you'll get a good idea of what it is.
This morning, you're doing tons of pull-ups, and he's pushing you, critiquing you is maybe a better term of it. What kind of things is he looking for?
You know, a lot of times it comes down to the relationship between muscles and the relationship between movements, and accounting for all of those variables through the movement. So we all have natural tendencies to do certain things, and a lot of times some of those things aren't the most efficient or functional things to do. So I have a ton of dysfunctions on my body, and really what that comes down to is how I grew up as a kid. You know, sitting in the classroom, being stuck inside under these blue lights, not outside running around playing and you know, just being a human. You know, I kind of turned myself into a robot, but everyone does. That's just kind of how modern society is, and it's hard for people to hear that, right? It's really hard for people to hear, like, wait, no, I'm a normal human. Everyone wants to think they're normal. Normal human, you know, would live in a tribe, in a hut, and go and hunt their food and then come back. You know, things have changed a lot with farming techniques and things, but don't get me wrong, it's incredible. And you know, it makes everyone's life a lot easier and a lot more efficient. But you know, our bodies have yet to catch up to our brains. So our bodies have yet to catch up and adapt to these new environments that we're exposed to. And he's trying to bridge the gap. You know, he's trying to bridge that gap and bring us back to, okay, this is how we're supposed to move. And these are the things that you know, make a big difference.
So for the people that aren't familiar with this and aren't seeing you doing what you're doing, lots of pull-ups.
Well, no, that's pretty rare for us to do.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so we have different pull-up variations and push-up variations and things like that. And, you know, a big thing to think about is like, okay, how long is your glute medius, right? How long is your biceps tendon? How long is your, you know, pec minor? They're typically not that long. You know, what's the distance between each attachment? Sometimes they're not that long. And being able to get length potential out of them so it can snap back is really important. But you have to do it in a very specific sequence in order to perform at the level that you want to do. Some people just have it, right? Barry Sanders is a guy that just has it, right? He was one of the greatest running backs of all time. Had probably 5 more seasons left in his career, and got hit in the head and was like, I'm done, you know. And he would have gone on to break all the records, but watching him move is, you know, it's, oh my goodness, it's incredible. And a lot of guys might be faster than him now, but they're linear. He could cut corners like nobody's business. And those are the things that I want to emulate in my wrestling. Is like, I want to be able to cut corners, and I want to be able to, you know, explode through a guy, or, you know, absorb that power. So those are the things that we focus on. So he'll watch. Basically, what happens is he uses slow motion capture. So he'll watch Usain Bolt run. He'll watch Barry Sanders run. He'll watch me wrestle. He'll watch the best pitchers in the MLB. He'll watch everybody, and he just tries to figure out like, okay, what are the best athletes doing when they're performing. He doesn't really care about how they train. He doesn't care what they do outside of their performance. When they're completely focused in on what they're doing, he wants to get that motion down, and he wants to see, okay, this is what's happening. I can copy that. So he's been doing it for the last 13 years, and the amount of information that he has in his head is just like is incredible. And the way he can see movement, I'm starting to pick up some of it. I'm really far behind him, but there's a lot of things that I can see and changes that I can make personally to increase my level of wrestling.
So let me get this straight. You don't touch weights anymore.
No, I touch weights.
Okay.
Yeah, so I use pulley machines, medicine balls, kettlebells, dumbbells. I use all those. I use barbells too. I just don't use them in the typical sense. Basically, what we're trying to do, or what I want to do, is move in the horizontal plane, and almost every single lift that is done is in the vertical plane, just up and down. So he's come up with thousands and thousands of techniques on how to work the horizontal plane, the transverse plane, rotation, and combining them all, because when you isolate something like that, it becomes very difficult, and you start causing different dysfunctions further up the kinetic chain. So it's really, really complicated, but you can do it yourself, and you can get those resources to figure it out. But I'm just really fortunate to have both Pablo and Naudi and the whole FP community behind me and helping me. And any video I post, it'll be a comment. They'll say, you need to anterior shift your left femur, or you need to posterior shift your right glute or right hip or whatever. And I'll see them like, really? And then it'll be like a conversation, and I'll go test it out. And a lot of it is seeing, testing. So constantly, every single day, we're testing something and seeing if it's the right way to do it. And the way the body is, it's so complicated. People think it's easy, right? People think that easy have a really short career, or they take steroids, or they end up getting hurt. So we want to try to minimize. We don't want to do any of those three things. I want to have a long career. I want to be able to do it while not destroying my body, and just being healthy, so I can walk and run by the time I'm 70 years old.
Is this stuff that you were intrigued by when you're in college, years before, or you've just dove in headfirst into this here?
Yeah, when I was in college, I was a completely different person. I never ate well. I never took care of myself, really, because I was just young. I was like, man, I work out so much harder than all these guys. I don't need to account for all these other variables. Like, they don't matter. And then I got to the next level and was like, yeah, they matter. They matter a lot, actually. So I need to account for these variables as well. And so I had, my diet is on point. I think I have the best team behind me in terms of diet and the way I eat, how I control my environment, whether it be non-native EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, or whether it be blue light, or Wi-Fi, or cell. They all have an impact on your cellular biology, and it's been proven. It's been proven for a long time. You just got to go out and do the research and just look these people up. So I've taken deep dive after college because I was tired of getting injured, and really the anchor of it all is FP and functional patterns. It's the best thing that I did. It's the best thing that I did for sure.
What was the aha moment? The moment where I'm into this stuff.
It was when I was able to fix my hamstring that quick, or fix my back that quick. It was like that easy for me to like, oh, okay, I need to go do that, because this other stuff is where this pain's coming from. Now I'm doing FP, and it's like I'm not getting sore after practice. I'm getting fatigued. Like really, you could see in practices and stuff, and then just doing the morning workout that you saw, you could see how fatigued I would get. But I'm not like getting like ridiculously sore, so I can't walk the next day. You know, and you can see that my muscles are growing. They just have more substance to them. I'm more powerful, and it just I just thought about it. You know, I just started thinking. I'm like, okay, what's the best for me? What's the best for people? What's the best for human beings? And I came to the conclusion that FP is the best for human beings.
You're talking about being bigger and stronger, and obviously you got 2018 and 2019 ahead, but 2020 you'll have to make a decision. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything in mind at this point?
Not at this moment. You know, I'm focused on winning a world championship right now. You know, so I'm not. You know, I feel like when I start getting ahead of myself, I've done that at points in my career, and I've fallen short. So it's complete focus on what's the goal at hand. Let's take care of business now, and then I have a whole nother year to take care of business, and then I have a whole nother year to take care of business. So those are the things that I kind of concentrate on. But you always think about them, right? You always say, you know, what should I do? What can I do? How can I, you know, what's the best for me? How can I do this? And that's a decision that my team's going to have to make. You know, my coaches at NYRGC, Cornell, my coaches at FP, my medical team, everybody, my family, my friends, my wife. We're going to have to make a decision on what's best for me and how we're going to accomplish our goals.
How far out in advance do you have to make that call, you think?
I don't know. I'm not sure. You know, that's another question that we have to answer with our family. You know, and you know, my team we'll talk about it, and everyone will have their opinion. Like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what I think you need to do. Let's talk about this. Let's do this. And that's important for me. Important for me to have a team and a tribe, and you know, because I can't do it by myself.
Does the 2-hour weigh-in now, day of weigh-in, 2-day format, how much does that change things?
Maybe a little bit, not a ton. I feel like I can do either one.
Yeah.
You know, either way, I'm fine. Going up or going down. You know, I'm torn both ways. You know, the prospect of getting bigger and staying strong and going there, or you know, being at a weight where I think that I'm still really strong, fast, and everything. So I don't think I'm going to lose anything either way. One area is going to, you know, I'm going to have to be a little bit more disciplined, where the other, you know, they're both going to require a ton of discipline. If I go up, I need to get bigger, right? I need to put a pretty good amount of weight on. And if I go down, I need to be more disciplined in my diet and put more time in.
It's been a hell of a year for you so far.
Yeah.
What's confidence level like going into Budapest?
Confidence level's through the roof. You know, like I said, I have the best team in the world. I don't think that anybody can come close to my team. You know, I have Team USA in my back too, and you know, I have the best training partners at Cornell. I have, you know, incredible training partners here with Team USA, and you know, anything that I need is pretty much taken care of. And I have people who are, you know, willing to push me and know which buttons to push to get me to improve. And you know, today didn't seem like a hard day, but for me it was, you know, I didn't do everything. I didn't complete all the minutes, but the intensity level was 10 out of 10. Right? I had nothing left. I went maximum effort, and when I thought I was done, I wasn't. I got up and had to do more. And you know, those are the things that you really count on from your coaching staff and from your training partners to push you through that. So you know, that's where my confidence level is. I'm not worried about. I'm not looking at anybody. I'm not worried about anybody. I'm worried about myself. Worried about my health. Worried about my psychology and my physiology.
Gaji Magomedov, only guy to beat you this year. At the Urigan, what did you learn from that match?
There's a lot. There's a lot that I learned. You know, I made mental errors that were silly, right? They're just anytime you make a mental error, it's like, man, why did I do that? Instantly after I did, I'm like, that was dumb. But it's hard going over there. You know, for me, it was really hard. Negative 47, not getting a ton of sleep. The time change was terrible for me, and those are things that we have to prepare for, right? Those are things that I have to overcome, and I didn't overcome them then, and that's on me, right? So I have to be better every time I step out there, and I think that since that day, I went from here, I'm way up now, and my coaching staff, I think they believe it. I think that Team USA coaching staff believes it. I think everyone believes it. So, I'm ready to rock and roll and ready to put on a great show for everyone in the world and bring back a gold medal, and not just a gold medal, but a dominant one. A dominant performance is what I'm striving for, and I know I can do it. I just got to be prepared, and I'm prepared.
You've gotten a chance to feel a lot of the top guys. Mm-hmm. Is that good? Is that comforting?
I mean, it's not comforting or disheartening or I don't mind either way. They got a feel on me, and the funny thing is, I make huge adjustments. I wrestled the guy from Azerbaijan, Hassanov, in the World Cup, and he had a close match, and then wrestled him again at the Yasar Dogu, and I made a lot of adjustments and was able to come out with a pin out there. So. Those are the things that I pride myself on, making those adjustments and improving. After I wrestle a guy, I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do to improve, and this is what he did to me that was like, okay, he almost got me there, and I need to make those adjustments so those don't happen to me again. So I'm just really confident.
Great stuff. Anything else for us?